this is my first. My very first. Yes, I need it. I love the welcome.
Well, I think you can probably guess how this goes, but there are microphones here and here.
Yes.
And these lovely people here may walk up to these microphones and ask you for your social security number, mother's maiden name, and bank account info. You have to give it to them.
I have it all.
It's in the contract you
It's in
signed.
here. It's there.
So,
let's share some debit and credit together.
enjoy.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
So, I know that I was scheduled to do this panel with Nate, but I don't see him.
Oh, I'm sorry. There I am. I forget sometimes.
Thank God, because I thought I was up here by myself. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Nate Torrence, everybody.
Yes.
I'm very excited to be here with you. I have not seen you since we shot the episode.
No, it has been. It's been great.
So it's nice to see you, and I know everyone's excited to see you.
It's been so fun. One, how many times I have people come up and give me a huge giant sully hug, which I have not minded. I don't mind that at all. So it's really cool to be a part of this show in any form possible.
That's amazing, because I can tell you from being at these shows before that these people right here give the best hugs.
It is. I actually tried to hint at Sully. I couldn't go full wardrobe. But I was like, oh, I'll go ahead and do a little rainbow. Got my little Sully button.
There you
She's
go.
got sparkle on her face.
I got some sparkle.
Someone gave me that.
I got my unicorn and pie.
Gotta think it through.
So I had to do a little sparkle, not on the face, because that stuff stains people.
That was an intense take.
It really was.
It was really, well, it was funny because the camera was on you and it was really hard to not laugh at you and not throw you off because it was like, but then you did it and it was like, oh, that's a good one, and I just went like this.
Just listen.
I was like off camera and I was like, I can't look.
I promised Rich that I would not break.
It was such a huge cleanup.
Huge cleanup.
Like a 40-minute cleanup.
He came up to me and he's like, Carrie, come here. He's like, the boys are gonna try to make you laugh. This is funny. You cannot promise me that you don't laugh during the take, because we got to take all the blood off, put on your makeup. Yeah, it's 40 minutes, it's an hour. Promise me. And I'm like, I got you. They're not going to get me. I'm doing this. Right? So, for those of you that want to know the story, if you remember the scene, I sit down on the bench, and next to me there's two big pools of sparkle blood. So when I sit down, I put my hands in it, right? So I can do this. And I've worked with fake blood before, but not with giant sparkles in it, right? So I didn't know what was going to happen. So away we go. Action, and I can feel it all over my face, and I get up and I'm doing the scene, and I can't look at Nate because I can't see him. And meanwhile, he's in his Sully outfit, being all funny. I'm like, don't look at Nate, don't look at Nate, don't look at Nate. And as I'm standing there, a huge piece of sparkle goes in my eye, right? And all I could think of was, I promised Rich I wasn't going to wreck this take. I'm not going to wreck this take. And I'm staying there, and I'm trying to ignore Nate, and all I'm doing in my head during that whole scene is Genzel, Jared, speak, Genzel, Jared, don't look at Nate, don't look at Nate, don't look at Nate, don't look at Genzel, Jared, speak, Genzel, Jared, don't overblink, I don't want her, cut, wake up! So that's what was going on in my head during that scene. People were like, how did you not laugh? I'm like, because it felt like there was a machete in my eye.
Oh man, that's awesome.
How was it for you?
It was amazing. You know, it was funny because my first scene was in the kitchen. That was the first thing I shot on the episode. And I remember I talked to Richard before because it was such a unique character, to try to find the energy of. You know, like, because I was coming out of the show, I remember when they showed me my outfit, I'm like, I don't know how I'm not going to stick out way too crazy in the dark world of Supernatural. I'm like, this is going to be so hard to, like, ground and not look fake. And we did, we found it in the kitchen, like, to find, like, this earnest energy where it was coming from, like my levels. And I thought Spade was amazing at that, just because it's such a handy comedy himself as an actor. Yeah, and then Jared Jensen were amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I was, sharing this earlier. It was so great having Rich direct this episode because he's an actor and because he's Supernatural family, so he had a shorthand with everybody and knows the show so well, so he really did look for those opportunities to kind of add extra
it was cool because it was like his first one, and that idea of, I remember having dinner right before we filmed and like wanting it to be such a success for him because I could feel how much he, what a pressure to be in an environment where you're this actor, and then what an honor to be a director in that, but man, you want to hit it out of the park. And he really took a risk, I think, on my castings. I know they were looking at a couple people in Vancouver, the idea of like bringing someone from the States up to do and I really just wanted to do so well for him. And then I feel like within like 3 days, it was just so obvious that he had done more homework than so many directors I'd ever worked with.
Yeah, he was great. I didn't know that it was his first episode either until we were shooting, and then it was like we all wanted just to shine.
He killed it. He was amazing.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
I see some lines forming for some questions. But anyway, yeah, and then the script too by Jenny Klein was amazing.
That was so funny. Like, when I read it, I couldn't believe I got to play something so... the sparkle scene, I just remember just dying laughing. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so fun. But then to have this heart that we got to find in the Kwanzaa hut, and to be able to to be able to like mess with the show's canon, like because you were introducing a character into something that had already happened and existed. It was so. That was a process for me to like. I wanted to be very aware to just the fear of it, like the fear of messing something up. Right. And boy, it was the pictures that they painted, bringing in like little soldier toys and they told me everything, what they brought it in, why it was there, just because it was so intricate. They were doing so many intricate choices. So pretty cool.
Yeah. You always make me cry in that episode. Oh, you do. Who cries during the end of that episode? Yes. Right?
I was crying in it. That was easy. It was so easy working off Reese and Jerry. That it was, the emotions were palpable and there and real. Specifically, I remember when we did the pep talk basically scene. That came so fast. And it was so funny because we had done all this jokey stuff, and I think there was maybe a sense of, hey, so how are we going to ground this? And it just happened immediately. Like it really was. It's really exciting. And then Reese at the end with it being this twin girl that I had botched up the plan on, and I loved making Sully have this mistake, because he's been this overwhelming great friend and great support, and then you realize he had a flaw, kind of we all do. And so it's kind of very easy to dive into that and be like, man, have I ever been in this moment in my life before, where I failed completely.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. All right, you want to start with questions?
Yeah.
Hi, my question is for Carrie. So my mom watched you in All My Children. If they did an All My Children reunion, would you go back?
Absolutely. Absolutely, I would go back. It was, All My Children was, my first really big job. And, I got to work with incredible actors on that show. And, it was funny. I was looking at some clips the other day. Susan Lucci and Robin Madsen and Kelly Ripa and, oh gosh, the list goes on. And there's so many. But, I feel like there's some unfinished business there. So, if I were asked, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
98.
I love that outfit. Look at that. That's awesome.
Alright, so obviously my question is for me. Just to name a few, you've been dressed like this. You've been a cloud. You've been a super Dan.
Yeah.
If you had to spend a year in one of the many outfits that you've had to wear in your parts over the years,
That's amazing.
what would that be? And what daily, day-to-day activity do you think would be most complicated by that outfit?
What a great question. I'm gonna have to say, the clown from Superstore definitely breathed. It was nice in leotards. Leotards and a giant clown, I'll take it. Couldn't do like a Zumba class in his own. But yeah, that would definitely be it. But it is funny, I've really gotten I have gotten to dress up as a lot of things in my career. Sully does hold the top favorite, I think, character that isn't like human. I love this character. Like, I mean, like, I'm not just saying that it would be in any interview, in any time. It was like an honor to play this role. Because as a comedian, we often get the highs, but we don't get the lows and the honest moments. And then to be happy. I like to be happy. I'm glad you love Sully. I love Sully too. Thanks for dressing. You got your thing.
Hi, my name is Courtney. I just wanted to know if you guys have seen the rest of Superman, and if so, what is your favorite episode?
Ooh. What's yours? I have so many. Like, episode-wise, and I don't like Supernatural, what I thoroughly do love about the show, and I would say, as far as to answer your first question, I'm pretty sure I've seen most of it. I love the comedic episodes. Like, I mean, like channels, changing channels, French mystery spot. Like, I think that just comes because that's my like style of acting, and I was always amazed that they could go from intense thriller episodes. Favorite thriller episode, A Pilot still ranks for me. Faith. Those would be in the beginning, like the earlier ones. But I think they stuck with me because I know what it takes. Like, we both would know what it takes to get a show rolling.
Right.
And there's so much risk in that first season because you're just not sure if anyone's gonna watch it. And the ratings haven't come out. You're like 8 episodes deep before it's even aired. And you're getting notes from networks, and to see the risks that they took.
Oh my gosh.
As just creative, and then as actors, that they became so pliable to humor. It is astounding.
Right. I mean,
Like-
the first episode I did was Bugs, which was in the first season, and it wasn't airing yet. So nobody really knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
It was really dark.
Yeah.
CW wasn't really doing dark,
Yeah.
right? And it even was shot so dark.
Yeah, well, and they were doing a lot of like
Different.
more bubblegum, like it was
was
just
like Buffy, yeah.
It was definitely like teen driven, and then just the writing, and that's why there's conventions, because it got so good, because it'd be Lazarus Rising, where they introduced the actual angel aspect and stuff.
Right.
Because you're creating, I feel like Supernatural is maybe 7 different shows. Like, that's what's so funny about it, or at least that would be my observation, where it's like, wow, these could have been
All
completely different chapters, and the writing just continued to go. So anyway, that's a long-winded answer to that.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
My favorite's the trickster, the Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Yes.
That introduction, that was a great, that's Mystery Spot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hey.
My question's for both of you. I was just wondering if you guys had imaginary friends and they could be represented by anyone or look like anyone, who would that be?
Oh, that's
Oh,
so good. I love your question.
that's a great question. You know what? I did have an imaginary friend, and I don't know who. I think the closest thing that I can think of is that she kind of looked like Wednesday Addams.
That's amazing. Like Christina Ricci Wednesday?
Yes, specifically.
Good choice. But I don't know that I had an imaginary friend. My son had an imaginary friend, and his name was Sherman, and it was really, really real, like to him. And honestly, when I got Sully, so much of my actions were based on my son just being like the best friend you could ever have and trying to be really childlike. And yeah, he loved him. And then I found out that it was based on one of my friends whose last name was Sherman. His name was Matt Sherman, and I'm like, I never put that together. I'm like, your imaginary friend is actually one of my friends. And then I was like, wow, you want to be with him more than me.
That's sweet, but kind of sad.
Exactly.
Yeah, a little bit. That's an awesome question. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh wow.
This is
This is gorgeous. I just saw a picture of that outfit. That's amazing.
look.
Yes! Oh! Do you have that in a little bit over in Excel? I'm hovering in between. That's beautiful.
She took my question, but I was gonna say, I came to DC, I'm from Georgia, I came to DC just because you were gonna be here.
Oh, that is like, oh, you are amazing. I hope you get a moment outside of
My
here.
favorite episode, you were my favorite one-time character, I'm so happy.
Well, thank you. That means more than you know. Thank you so much for loving it.
I don't have a question, she took mine, I was gonna ask about imaginary friends.
Well, that's okay. We got to concentrate on that amazing coat down the floor.
Exactly.
Did you actually make that?
I did.
Wow, what an artist. That is beautiful. That's gorgeous. Yeah, I need a picture of that.
Oh, you're gonna sign it.
Okay. Oh, I'm in on that.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Hi guys.
Hi.
So you both have been on shows very intricate and very personal to me. Supernatural. I'm gonna take y'all way back. Malcolm in the Middle.
Wow.
And Psych. Okay. So for each of you, I would like to know just a little bit if you remember anything from your time filming, especially Carrie, if you spent any time with Tim Robinson like last time. If you remember anything?
I actually didn't shoot with him on site, fortunately, but I did have a great time shooting it. Oh, there's Daphne. Hi, Daph. It's my dog. Yeah, no, we didn't get to work together, but I did have a really wonderful time shooting that episode, and we shot that over in Vancouver too, and where all great television is made. My hometown. There's a lot. And you know, the thing that makes me laugh about Vancouver is that you know all the shows that are shooting in Vancouver, because how many other supernatural actors have you spotted on other Vancouver shows?
Yeah.
Right, a lot.
They just have you worked in the Langley studios yet? Too? That they're like a little farther down. We were just about to film there because they just built a bunch more.
Oh, I haven't been to that.
They built a bunch more. It's crazy how big Vancouver's getting.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. But yeah, that was always the joke. It's like, you know, that's the thing with Vancouver is like the rule was after 5 years you could audition for Supernatural again because they were running out of actors. So it took me 10.
That's amazing.
I did make it
Just a
back.
remix. Someone needs to put that together. Like,
Right?
like 1, 5, 10.
Yeah, and you know, you guys are have eagle eyes. So the minute just my imagination aired, immediately on social media, people are like, wait a minute, that's the lady. There goes my phone. They're like, that's the lady from Bugs.
I remember you did it because didn't Reese too? Wasn't she on one as well? She was.
Yeah, I think so.
I think the girl that was at the end.
You know, and both characters were named Linda, which is weird.
That's funny.
But they were
So it actually was just like Linda from Bugs. That just.
so weird.
That's awesome.
It was really weird. Anyway,
Yeah, Malcolm in the Middle, I remember, what's funny about that, I was really young, that would have been one of my like first guest star on TV. I kind of started off in commercials and then started doing a little bit of television, and all of the people had to shave their heads for my episode because Reese was in the army, and I couldn't shave my head because I had another job. And it was like there was a solidarity for everyone to shave their head. And I like went up to the director, I was like, please, I have another job. I never have jobs. And they're like, and I'm like, I'm just starting out. I'm like, I can't not do the, the next one. I'm trying to remember what the other one was. It was a little bigger even. And he goes, take my hat off the whole time. So if you ever watch it, everyone's head's shaved but mine. Yeah, thank you so much.
For that.
My question is for you. When you were in the kitchen with all the food on the table, with the nachos and marshmallows, I was wondering if you ever got to try anything that was on that table, or if you have any odd food combinations that you like to put.
Such a good question. No, I was definitely not allowed to touch it. It was like a work of art. Like they were like, this is a Picasso, stay away from it. Like, do not bump it, shake it, touch it. Because it was like gorgeous. And they were doing like the hover on where they close stuff on it. So no, I didn't get to touch anything. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know how much of it was actually edible. Like 90% of the time, like the marshmallows like glue. I don't know what it was, but yeah, it was such eye candy though, like literally. I remember walking in, because again, that was my first moment on the set. And I was like, oh, boy, did they go all out. Like, because sometimes you can half-ass that a little bit. And they were like, totally, it was beautiful. So no, I didn't eat any. And I ate about everything and anything gummy growing up. Like I was the kid that like would buy gummy, like the gummy bear, gummy cola ball, gummy one. Then I go home and melt them in the microwave and then make my own gummy and walk around and eat it. Wasn't very healthy. I think in hindsight, now that I think about it.
Oh my God.
But good memories nonetheless.
Yes.
Latchkey kid, mom and dad were home.
Listen, as actors, they don't really let us touch much of anything unless we're holding it in the seat. They're all like, stay away! Stay away. We don't have a good reputation
We will destroy anything and everything we touch.
Exactly. It was like it's roped off.
It was, what was cool though, that I do remember about that scene is at the end, they left and they let me just improvise what I was doing while they were having a meeting. And in that moment, I was opening cupboards and going through, like there's tape somewhere of it. It was pretty funny, where I just like kept opening drawers and I'm like, I'll box this up, don't worry. And so that would have been like this fun aspect of like the environment, but yeah, no touch the food. Yeah.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
So my question was, did you have a favorite scene to shoot?
Favorite?
Yes.
From this episode?
Well, you have two. So.
Or of all times? Wait, was it from this episode? Oh, from this episode. Well, I think we can guess what that was. Favorite and also uncomfortable. The sparkle. I have to say, like, having that on my face the first time and seeing your faces was pretty fun.
It really paid off. So often, like you'll read something and you're like, I hope this works in the moment. And it really did. It was a great scene.
It was so great. But all the stuff leading up to it too, of like just what was happening in that room, what had happened, and then, poor Sparkle. It was so cute. Jenna, she was, I don't know how old she was when we shot that. She wanted to see the murdered Sparkle so badly, and she walked really badly. And Rich was like, I don't know, it's gonna look kind of bad. The horn's broken off. And so I said to her mom, I said, I'm going to take some pictures and I'll send them to you, and if you think it's appropriate, then she would see it. But she never ever saw him like that.
That's funny, because the idea of like shooting all of those scenes and
Right, they're
now
having a
I'll show
tea
you.
party and then he's like murdered.
That is his death.
I do remember when we were shooting that though, they forgot to tell him that they'd cut and he was holding his breath. And we all were like moving on and milling about, and all of a sudden I hear Genzel go, breathe! Breathe! Because he was watching the monitor and noticed he wasn't
That is
breathing.
so funny. That is so funny. I had this happen to me. I was in a CSI, and it was the year that was like the highest budgeted corpse that CSI had ever done. And you have to look it up, because I die in a tub. So they actually did like this full body prosthetic of me, where I up the eyes of the tub and like craned me out. But anyway, we're doing like the autopsy scene, and he weighed so much, and I'm like, and Georgia Fox is like, I can hear him. And I'm like, I can't breathe. And I'm trying desperately. It's so funny. Somehow they got all the breathing out. I never didn't make noise. Like it was like how it was all falling on me.
Oh
it
my
was like
God.
whimpering and whistling in ways that I
Listen,
had no idea about.
playing dead is one of the hardest things to do. I had to play dead one time up in Vancouver. There was a freak snowstorm and my body was like out in the yard and it was freezing cold. And I'm in some period dress, right? In between the scenes, they had the second AD would come and lie down on top of me to keep me warm. Like, that looked weird. They
I think it's a little creepy. I'm trying to have to eat a blanket.
Right?
Don't worry, I'll get it. Don't worry, Carrie, I'll keep you warm. No, this is all we got. We don't have a coat.
It's just John. That's all we have. But, you know what's funny about that is when I shot the shower scene in Bugs, this goes back. I have like weird things on set. When I shot the shower scene in Bugs, which seemed to take at least 3 days. I don't know. There was a lot happening. But I fall through the door. I get attacked by spiders and I fall through the shower door. And I had to fall on top of the stunt coordinator who was lying on a crash mat. And I was wearing just really some pasties. There was not really a lot going on there. But anyway, so I got to know him very well.
I was too. I'm big enough to sell it.
So anyway, that was weird because we had to do that several times and I had to like fall essentially naked on top of some man I didn't know. These are the things. So so you wanted me in
I forget the question. What was that a tangent? You're like, I didn't ask for this. Sounds like you both need therapy.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Oh, I do. Hold on, I gotta remember. I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll cut. My favorite though, favorite scene in that scene, I would have said it would have been that the with the Kwanzaa with Sam, and I think it was awesome to just because of, and I had mentioned it before, but because of the time we took and the intricacy we wanted to create with the relationship. And what that meant for the series at large. I knew we were playing around with something so much bigger than the moment, and that was really cool to not only risk to do, but then to pull off. Like I felt like it was grasped, and everyone took it as, oh yeah, I believe this relationship that they've been together this whole time. So, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ian, and this question is for Kate, or Renee, sorry. But apart from Sam, if you could pick anyone in the show to be an imaginary friend with, who would it be?
Oh, it is a good one. I'd have to straight go across the board to Dean. I think Dean needs a little love. What would he look like with a son? He needed some encouragement. All the sacrifices he was making. I do. I think that I loved in my in prepping for it, I had this idea of how much, as an actor, you're kind of given the choice to justify why you're making choices. And in that Kwanzaa hut scene, I remember making the choice to do a couple takes where I didn't know everything that had happened to Sam and Dean, or I did know everything that happened to Sam and Dean, and I didn't want to tell him. And I wanted him to explain it to me, like I wanted to be that support. And it was crazy that, you know, in this actory way, how much sympathy I found myself having for Dean, that even though, you know, there would have been the back and forth, that there's resolution at the end when I say, oh, you're not a germ, and he says, you're not that weird. I feel like Sully had a pretty big heart for Dean, too. So, that's a good question.
That's it. I feel like if Sully was Dean's imaginary friend, that it would be a tougher go. Like, you'd have a beard, right? Like, it'd be like, oh,
I look more like Weems.
yeah, exactly.
Sully Weems. Stop stabbing me, I love him.
Like, it would have been a little rougher for Sully.
Hi. I just want to start with my childhood teddy bear. His name was Sully. So it was like built-in nostalgia for me.
That's awesome.
But also, I was just wondering, you know, what was it like having to shoot scenes where you either had to pretend like you couldn't be seen, or like having to act for things that you had to act for?
Yeah, that's where you realized how amazingly professional and that they had done that was season 11, and how they had already done everything. So they just told me what to do. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna make you disappear. Camera rakes over the shoulder, we're gonna pop you out, we'll just act like that you were always there. And that was always on them, and they always did it in one take. Like, it was crazy to see that they had gotten so used to like the camera tricks aspect. And then for me, mine was easy. I just ducked down, or hopped down, I was like, okay, I'll see you. And then they freeze. Yeah. so that was fun. I loved our scene. That was really the one where it got the true test that I kind of failed in the off-camera, where it was really funny. I guess we made it, in the best of ways. We really laughed so much.
We laughed a lot.
And I think you had to because then it made it that much more real when we weren't laughing. You know, you had to get it out. But that would have been one where I wasn't allowed to react. And I wasn't good at that.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's funny going back when you said they've done everything. I remember standing at craft service with Evan, who played Sparkle, in his full manicorn outfit, and no one from the crew even batted an eye as he was, you know, getting his M&Ms and, you know, snacks. And I was like, you know you're on Supernatural when you can stand in craft service with a guy dressed like a rainbow unicorn and no one even notices.
It's a great moment. Thank you so much.
My question is for Carrie. So I'm MJ. I'm actually a part entomologist, so bugs is one of my favorite episodes.
Awesome.
So only you're the only one. What's your question?
My question was, after you were in that episode, you saw it all kind of come together, what was like your favorite parts of that episode?
That I survived. You know, when I auditioned for Bugs, so that episode was directed by the amazing Kim Manners. Yeah, so good. Who, you know, I know from X-Files, right? He directed some incredible episodes of X-Files. So I auditioned for him, and we did the scene, and he like leaned over at the audition. He said, Carrie, I'm going to need you to be lying down on the ground with your mouth open and have tarantulas running all over you. Do you think that you can do that? And I'm like, I'm an actor, right? So I go, yeah, totally, I can totally do that. That's no problem. And he's like, okay. And I go walk back to my car and I'm like, oh my God, what did I say? I'm terrified of spiders. Terrified. So I'm like, all right, maybe I won't get it, right? Maybe I won't get it. So of course I get it, right? So I get a call saying you gotta go hang out with the bug wranglers, right? Before, just to make sure you're not gonna freak out. So I go to meet them, and I'm trying to act super cool, right? I'm like, hey, how's it going? You got some bugs? And like everything in the trailer is crawling. Crawling or slithering, right? And I'm like, okay, let's do this. And he's like, I'm just gonna put some spiders on you, and we're just gonna talk, and just ignore them, right? Just ignore them.
Just ignore them.
Just ignore them.
I like that terminology.
And I'm like, okay, sweating, buckets, right? Like, okay, yeah, that's cool, I can do that, do this all the time. And so he puts the spiders on me, and as we're talking, one of them goes in my ear, does not come out, okay? And I'm like, and he's just chatting, he has no clue, and I'm like, I have a quick question. There's a spider in my ear, and it is not coming out. What happens now? Do we need to go to emergency? Do we set a fire? How does this work? Right? And he's like, oh, no problem. And he goes, like, looks around, he goes to his desk, he gets out a Bic pen with a blue cap, and he pulls the cap off, and he goes, in my ear, takes it out, and he goes, oh, there you go. He goes, yeah, don't worry about it, we'll give you earplugs on the day. I was like, what? I said, so just a second, let me get this straight. Why? What's going on? They're like, well, they really like dark places. And I'm like, I have a second question? So, Kim Manners mentioned something about having my mouth open in this scene. What's the situation there? Because we can't put an earplug in there. And he's like, okay, no, it's no problem. They don't like damp. They don't like damp or moist things. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna, just before we dump, that was the word he used, dump, the spiders on you, do this. Like, lick your lips, right? Because they'll like head in that direction and then they'll turn around. So I'm like, really? That's the tried and true solution to this? Like, I'm down, right? That's what I'm gonna do. So like, lo and behold, so we do it, and we did it twice. Okay, so lo and behold, they're like, okay, getting ready, and they come in with the buckets of spiders, and I'm, again, not wearing anything but pasties. This is a continuation of the shower scene, so, hey, I'm already feeling super, super comfy. And they're like, okay, are you ready? I'm like, just a second. Okay,